All right. Hello, darlings and dears. Welcome to Bloodstained. I'm your host, Ash, and that's short for ashwagandha is an amazing root to heal your nervous system. And my pronouns are they, them. I'm on day 5 of my cycle, and I am 3 years and 10 months sober as of Wednesday. Um, so that's where I am in my cycle. I'm feeling pretty good. I feel a good mood, but my luteal phase and bleeding phase has given me a lot of insomnia. And I have tried like literally everything. I put my phone away an hour before bed and I drink tea and I read. And I think the last thing I haven't tried is talking to the spirits because there's a thing where called the witching hour where a spirit will come to you in like 3 or 4 a.m. and that's the only thing I haven't tried is trying to see who's waking me up. um but other than that, I'm in a good mood today. I'm really excited about this episode. It's going to be a little shorter episode than usual, and it'll have a different flow. I have an amazing guest here. Feel free to introduce yourself, Eleonora.
Hi everyone, my name is Eleonora and I'm really excited as well to be here. I am very happy to see you, Ash. We haven't seen each other for a while, and it's always my heart is singing when I can see you. So it's nice to be on this platform. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very grateful. And let me introduce myself. I am originally from Hungary and I live in New York. And I'm a breathwork practitioner. And we're going to talk about breathwork and the importance of breathwork today and how I ended up being a breathwork practitioner. And I'm really grateful that I can share my experience here. Thank you for listening.
Yes. And I'm so grateful that you asked to be on here and that we get to hear all about it. And it's something that I'm also really into and uh, want to talk about on the podcast as well. I'm going to play a little sound. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but our topic today is breathwork.
Breathwork.
Yeah, breathwork. All right. So yeah, just let's dive in. Tell us about breathwork. What are the benefits? What do you do?
Breathwork is extremely powerful. It's a very powerful method. I am facilitating the three-step breathing technique, and you always breathe through the mouth. It's a very simple technique. You breathe into the belly, then you breathe into the chest, and you breathe out of the mouth. So it's very simple. That's the technique. However, it's very unnatural because usually you breathe through the nose. And during the breath work, you are laying down and you're going to breathe for 35 minutes. And throughout the breath work, because you are bringing in a lot of oxygen, there's a lot of chemical shifts in your brain. And the most important thing in breathwork is that you activate your pineal gland. So when you activate your pineal gland, which is your inner third eye, your pineal gland is in near the center of your brain, um, and uh, and when you activate it, your pineal gland is your the seat of your consciousness. So I like to consider as a messenger. It's a messenger between the material world and the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Um, when you activate the pineal gland, there's a lot of chemical shift. Melatonin is being released in your brain, serotonin is being released in your brain, and DMT is released in your brain. When you activate your own DMT, that is responsible for psychedelic experiences. And
Mhm.
that's why many people experience even out of body journeys. You might see things, you might hear things, you might receive messages. It's absolutely powerful, and you're gonna have multidimensional experiences. All of a sudden, you connect to your higher self, you connect to your own heart, you raise your frequency, the electromagnetic field of your heart expands, and you expand your consciousness. And it happens because the pineal gland is like a pine cone shaped gland, and within the pineal gland there's a fluid, and in the fluid there's little crystals. So when you breathe in you bring in a lot of oxygen, these little crystals start bumping to each other, and they release photons. They release, that's light. So light activates consciousness. That's why you're going to be able to access a different dimension. You're going to be able to connect to your higher self, and that is extremely powerful. It is really enhancing the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's why there's a lot of benefits. It can reduce anxiety, it can reduce depression, it can enhance your creativity. It's amazing for addictions. It's really useful when you would like to clear your mind. There's so many benefits, and all you need to do is laying down and breathe for 35 minutes.
Yes.
Also, I think it's important to understand why the technique is so effective, because I never understood why. Like, I've been searching for half of my lives, and I love I love meditation. I love all kinds of meditation. I call this active meditation.
Mm.
And the reason why it worked for me, because I know that if I lay down and breathe for 35 minutes, then I'm gonna connect to a different dimension. I will raise my frequency to the highest. And the reason why it happens is that you cannot, your mind is always wandering, and you have to give a task to
Yeah.
your ego, to your mind. So, and then when you give the task to focus on the breath,
Mhm.
then you are able to get into the zero state.
And
Then you are able to turn off the ego.
yeah, and also like your mind will be on the sensations in the body, and it's
Mhm.
almost kind of like, okay, the mind's over here, so the rest of you can go somewhere else too. I know a
Mhm.
lot of people that have a lot of resistance with meditation because the mind isn't kept busy, and
Mhm.
that's why it's like guided meditations work so well for people because the mind can be kept busy. But in this form of active meditation, you are given something to do, and let me
Mhm.
tell you, those 35 minutes will feel like very, you will feel every second of those 35 minutes. Um, for
That's true.
sure, for sure. Um,
Yes, and also, like, I think it's important you mentioned that when you just sit down and meditate, for some people it doesn't work because their mind is always active and they just cannot relax. So I think it's important to mention that breathwork is very healing for the soul, because uh, you need to do the work. It's very tough to breathe for 35 minutes, and then you deal with all the physical sensations, and keep breathing for 35 minutes even when it's painful, and your hands might cramp up. Like, there's a lot of physical shift in your body as well. And when you still keep doing it, you are a warrior, and then you're going to be proud of yourself, and you activate your own healing, innate healing power within. And I think that's why I was amazed by this work, because I realized that most of the time people come to healers, they come to you because they think there's something wrong with them and they want you to fix them. They want you to heal them. But when you do breath work, you actually, I hold space for your healing. You do the work.
Hmm.
Your soul realizes that actually you are the healer of your soul. And
Yeah.
I think that's magical.
And yeah, and it's coming from within in like so physically too. Like you're
Mhm.
literally breathing. It's coming from your lungs. I can't make you, Eleonora, breathe for me, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
you're
I
not.
cannot feel your discomfort because
Yeah.
I have to mention there's a lot of physical thing going on when you're breathing. So you might have tingling sensation, your shoulders might cramp up, different parts of your body might cramp up, and the reason for that is actually that you are releasing trauma from your soul on a somatic level. So when you are cramped up or when you feel really stuck in your body or stiffness, that is a good sign because that means that your soul is releasing traumas, maybe from I don't know the middle age, or for traumas that are suppressed for 20 years or 10 years,
I
and
will
that's
say,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah. I have two comments on that. One is about how the body, if you've ever heard of the book The Body Keeps the Score,
Yes, I
or
just wanted to mention that.
like somatic release,
Mhm.
where there's this like muscle shaking because it's
Mhm.
ingrained in the body when something happens to you, like if, for example, like if you get it were in an accident, um
Yes.
something physically happened to you, and your body will be sensitive to that, and having these practices might, bring those things up to be released out of the body. So I just want to mention that, yeah, it's like your body knows what is going on. And so like if you're aware of things that happen in your body,
Mhm.
and where they are in the body, that might be something like bring to mind, be conscious of going into it.
Mhm.
And the second thing was a question. So is there any um negative effects of doing the three-step breathing for 35 minutes? Is there any part of it that is dangerous?
Absolutely not. It's 100% safe. You are only breathing. So
Mhm.
I always say that this is your own sacred breath. You are breathing through the mouth, and if you feel, I think the negative effect is only in your brain. So when you start freaking out, and some people might feel discomfort and they freak out, that your hands might cramp up. So that can be, this is called claw hands. It is totally normal. That means that you are releasing traumas from your soul, and it comes out on a physical level. When that happens, I am guiding people. I am always guiding them to send some energy there, because where intention goes, energy flows. So you put some intention, that because obviously you are breathing, so that's all you can do. Just send some energy, and all of a sudden, those parts of your body start easing up. It's important to understand that when people start freaking out at the beginning, that maybe they feel something that they have never felt before,
Yeah.
then you can acknowledge that that might be the self-sabotaging method of your brain, and you need to talk to your brain that I'm okay, I'm fine, I am only breathing. And if somebody becomes very anxious about it, then I always say just go back to your normal breath, or breathe a little bit slower, and you are fine. That's it.
Yeah,
So
I imagine people get lightheaded, right?
yes,
Yeah,
which
and
is
that can be a
totally
fear.
normal, but I experience so many different stories and so many different experiences I could hold space to. And some people want to go out to the restroom, some people, and this is many times it's fear.
Yes. Yeah, fear of those states and like fear of like that shift even.
Hmm. Fear
I
of the
know for
new.
me, like, yeah, like getting lightheaded or, like, because that's like the first thing you might feel going
Yes.
in is like from deep breathing, you get lightheaded, but um, it's not dangerous and nothing is going to happen to you because you are simply just breathing harder, you know?
Yes.
Um,
And that
so
there's
having,
I'm always there holding space, so I'm guiding the whole journey through. It's a meditation. It's a breathwork journey. So I am giving affirmations. I'm guiding the whole experience. I can see people in person. I can touch people. I can make them feel safe, and through my voice I can make people feel safe. I'm holding a sacred container where most of the time people feel absolutely safe, and I encourage them that if it's too much, if it's really intense, then they can just slow down the breath, and then they can rest a little bit and then go back to it. But I always also encourage people to be comfortable with the discomfort, because that's where change is.
yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's really important to have a practitioner to be with you to hold space during this. And that's why it's important to like go to someone like Eleonora who has the experience, who has been taught this from
Mhm.
somebody who has a lot of experience and who has like done hold space for a variety of different people, like who have different traumas coming in, who have different physical bodies coming in, um because they can empathize more and they know what to do and they know how to, you know soothe those anxieties, because some if you were doing this by yourself, you might not get to that point of change, or you might say, oh, I had a really bad experience because I
Mhm.
freaked out and I'm not going to do it again, you know
Mhm.
and so someone's there to say, no, that is the experience. um that's where the work happens, and having somebody just be like, it's going to be okay, you're just
Mhm.
breathing, you're going to be okay, keep going.
Yes.
That is so powerful, that's so good.
And
um
I think it's important to know that the more you do breathwork, the more you realize that it's actually really powerful, and you become familiar with the process, and then it's easier. So I encourage people to start with a guided journey, and later on, when have they train their muscles,
yeah,
their breath, they're long, and they are more confident, and they know that they resonate with the experience, then they're gonna have more faith in themselves, and they will do it more often, and they can do it at home, and it's totally safe.
it's totally safe, and when you accomplish it, that releases, I mean, accomplishment releases dopamine in the brain, so on top of the
Yes.
serotonin, melatonin, DMT, after you complete this, you feel a sense of accomplishment, that dopamine, did
Yes,
it,
definitely.
I did it, and I got through it. And yeah. Yeah, I want to talk about you some more. Can you tell us a bit about your story and how you became a breathwork practitioner, how you came to breathwork even?
Yes, it's my story is started with a little bit of pain. When I was 23 years old, I lost my dad in an accident, and it was a huge trauma for my soul. And at that time, I was really young. I didn't know, I couldn't really interpret the experience of my soul, because this was the first trauma, like huge trauma in my life. And for many, many years, I felt really broken. I felt that there was a void in my heart. I couldn't process how this could have happened to me. I was propelling into this victim mentality, that why me? Why did this happen to me? I was so happy. I was always a happy child. I had a beautiful childhood. I was a teenager with happy friends, and then boom, this happened. And I would like to be honest with you. I come from Hungary, and at that time, working with your soul or reaching out was kind of not accepted. You had to be always strong, and I always felt that, okay, this is weakness. If I reach out, then I am weak, and everybody moved on around me, and I didn't really know how to feel better. I
Mhm.
felt lost, I felt broken. And then I moved to New York and I started doing healings one after another. I was just chasing the light, and I always wanted to fix myself. I thought there was something wrong with me because I didn't feel a certain way. And then I became a Reiki master through this journey. I was doing a lot of meditations. I was going to meditation studios because that was my happiness. I always felt that when I was doing spiritual work, my soul was in peace. So
Mhm.
at least I found that path, but I still felt that something was missing. And one day I went to a beautiful studio in Brooklyn, and I went to a breathwork meditation, and literally it changed my life. It was just so different than anything else I experienced, that I felt I felt emotions. There were a lot of relief, and I just felt that my soul uh, started to express in a way that I have never ever experienced in my life. It was extremely powerful, and it was so powerful that next week I was already on a plane, and I went to Los Angeles, and I participated in a breathwork facilitator course. My teacher is David Elliott. He's amazing. And I took an intensive course. I became a breathwork practitioner, and I've been facilitating breathwork for almost more than 6 years now.
Mm.
And this is my passion. I shared my story because I hope it can help others to guide them towards light. And I hope I can introduce this sacred work to as many people as possible, because this was the practice that literally changed my life.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Um and I know that you've done so much work with your trauma and with your dad too. I remember you mentioning to me how amazing he was for you,
Yes.
you know, and that's really tough. It's really tough. And it's like, of course, when you find something, when you find the way, you know, you want to share that. You want to share that, especially with something that isn't as known and that a lot of people have access to, which is our breath.
Yes.
Um, I wanted to ask you about your mission as now a breathwork teacher. So now going forward, now that you have been practicing, and what is your mission? What is your goal?
Mm. My biggest mission is really to help people heal ancestral traumas and deep seated wounds, and rewrite negative disbeliefs so that they could move on and shine their light in the world. I think ancestral work is really my passion. It's when you go and go back to your ancestral wounds, and then you realize what are those limiting patterns in your family that are subconsciously guiding your everyday actions and your life, and you are able to shine some light on them. They start healing. And it's very important to understand, which I understood through my grief work that I wanted to fix myself. I was always going after that inner mission that I want to be whole. And then through this work, I realized that actually I am already whole and complete.
Mhm.
And that breathwork was the one which made me discover this truth, and I incorporate it in my work when I work with ancestral field, which became my passion through my breathwork facilitation. This is a mission because I truly believe that just like if you look at my story, I come from a family where we were suppressing,
Yes.
and and that is part of my family trauma.
Mhm.
That there was so much trauma that my mother and my mother's mother and my great great grandmother, they couldn't speak up, they couldn't share.
Mhm.
And then I realized that if you start speaking up, if you start sharing these traumas, then you are healing not only your own wounds, but you are the one in the lineage. You become the warrior. You become the one who's actually feeling the feels. You
Yeah.
become the one who's actually transmuting these traumas. And you realize that in every trauma, there is a gem, there is a lesson.
Mhm.
And I literally know stories when grandparents were in Auschwitz and they never talked about it. They shut down, and the granddaughter became anorexic because if you don't deal with ancestral trauma, somebody has to deal with it. And
Yeah.
I think this is in my family, there were a lot of grief,
Mhm.
there were a lot of suicide and trauma. And I think my journey was started with such a painful experience because I had to realize that I'm not functioning only on a material level, but I am a soul and I have a spirit, and I needed to awaken. And this painful experience awakened my soul, and
Yeah.
I became a body with a spirit, with a conscious spirit. So I'm very grateful for that. But at the time, I didn't see it. I didn't see that every trauma is actually a chance for growth. I didn't see that grief will teach me to um, see the light, and then to be able to heal others from um grief, to be able to go back to the ancestral pain and discover the ancestral pain. And through the ancestral lineage healing, I think there's a chance to become aware of our subconscious patterns, and
Yeah.
that's, you need to dig deep for that. But when you realize that we are operating on a system of all the disbeliefs and negative patterns that we receive from our parents, then you are able to shine some light on them and they start healing and you become aware. And then you realize that this is not mine.
Mhm.
I don't have to operate through this thought. I can change it. And that's when your life changes. It's a
Yeah.
very sacred work.
Yeah. And when you talk about how it was difficult to see it, like, especially because you're in so much pain at the time,
Mm,
there's a filter of being in pain. But I think it's also really important as a practitioner to know what, um, to gain trust with other people is to
mm,
also know what that pain is as well. For me, for example, I have had therapists who have never gone through addiction or mental illness, and there's a big disconnect because they understand my pain through a textbook. When
yes.
I go into a room of other people who have felt the same and have had similar journeys, there's another level of shared compassion. And
Mm,
so, yeah, what you were talking about is like, you felt like this, this trauma, this and these things that are happening, but you are able to now hold greater space because you also know. what it is like. And so when you're with these people, it sounds like you can really um, be in a shared compassion container because you are also doing that too. And something you mentioned about the ancestors that made me think about it is like going forward, especially if you are like nurturing younger people, like you can do something different, you know? Like you mentioned how like in Hungary, like it going reaching out and getting help and stuff, it's not the norm. And that's kind of how it was for my family too. It's not usually the norm in our family structures to go out and help, but then once we decide to break that pattern, that's when things really change. Um, and some things that might seem like cultural norms, like are also like rooted in like somebody had to start that. Somebody had to start it and like begin that process of saying like, yeah, actually we're not going to deal with this anymore. We're going to bottle that up. And then their kids got that, and then their kids, and it gets to you. And then you're like, oh,
Somebody has to be the black sheep.
oh yeah. Yes, a herd of black sheep.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yay for black sheep and the warriors, because I think it's a very sacred mission. When you are the black sheep, you are the one who's dealing with the trauma of your whole family.
yeah,
This is really important work, and as you mentioned something really beautiful and important, that I am able to relate to people and hold space for them because of my pain. I
yeah.
think that's the most important reason why we go through pain,
Mm-hmm.
because when you can see it from the ego's perspective and you see your trauma and pain as a as a space for growth, then your whole life changes. When I was 20, I experienced my trauma as a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was growing on my path, I realized that I'm not a victim. I chose this experience, my soul chose this experience. And then through this experience, I am learning very important lessons. And this is going to be my strength. This is going to be my gem. This is going to be my light. So through this experience, I'm able to help others. And as you mentioned, this is really true. It's interesting that my passion is ancestral healing. My traumas are grief and abandonment, actually. And I always attract people with similar pain points,
Yes.
or people who are interested in the ancestral work or who had similar traumas in their bloodline, because you are able to help others through your pain.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see our traumas through that mirror, it totally changes our lives.
Yeah, and real like camaraderie and togetherness can bloom
Mm.
from it because then you can really understand it and you're not just bypassing somebody's pain because you don't totally understand it. Like you have also lived it in your own way, you know, and that's a very beautiful thing. Want to get into, I love what we're talking about, but I want to get into what is our product review for today. And our product review is, well, I'm going to do a little drum roll. Our product review is an app called, what's the app called?
So, Soul Studio Breathwork, passion.io, and there's a dash between the words. But we're gonna link it
Yes, we're going to
below.
check it all out. But yes,
Or
that's
you
the
can you
app.
can check Soul Studio USA. That's my Instagram. Maybe that's easier. Soul Studio USA.
Yes, perfect, perfect.
Yeah, so I am launching my own app and I'm extremely excited. I am really, really proud of this new baby I am giving birth to. The app is being launched this Monday, which is the 22nd of May.
Mhm.
And I will launch this app with a 4-week breathwork challenge. And I would like to invite everyone who's interested in this work, dealing with ancestors and ancestral pain, and would like to go deep, 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 deep and participate in this beautiful work to reach out to me. Uh, I would like to highlight the 1 month container. Every week we're gonna work with a different topic, and we're gonna move according to the medicine wheel. First, we're gonna focus on the East, which is about birth, and we're gonna birth this container, and we're gonna focus on healing, and this is the direction of healing ourselves and healing our inner child. We will focus on self-worth and self-love. Every day, the app gives the option to drip content, so you will always receive a new assignment every day, either a guided meditation or there's going to be guided affirmations uploaded, assignments about this topic of the week. And we will meet live 2 times a week. There's gonna be one breathwork session together with the group, and there's gonna be one integration session every single week. So altogether, there's gonna be 8 live sessions. It's very important in my work that after each breathwork session, a few days later, there's an integration, because throughout my practice, I realized that most of the time after the session, there's not really time to go deep, deep, deep and share all of us. If let's say there's 20 people in the group, there's no time to share.
Mhm.
So that's why I would like to give a chance for people to really share in the integration session, and then we go deep. And I I realize that there's always, if it's a container, then we are all together in this container. Your story might help others, and other people's story might resonate with your soul. So we really hold each other's hands, and I think I'm very grateful for this app, because this work came through me very quickly. And yeah, so every day we are working with different assignments. The second week we will turn to the direction of the south, and this is going to be about letting go and forgiveness. And this is the direction of the power and strength. We will need our strength for forgiveness and to let go of all these things that are not serving your life, because then you can when you are clearing your life and then decluttering your life energetically and physically, then you are able to bring in new energies into your life. So this is very important. The third week, we will turn to the west, and the direction of the west is about passing, is about darkness, is about death, and we're gonna focus on our shadow selves. We will work with our limiting beliefs and ancestral wounds. And every single week during the breathwork, there's a guided journey, and we invite the ancestors. We always work with the ancestors. And the last week, the fourth week, we will turn to the direction of the north.
Yeah.
And that is about gratitude.
Mhm.
And it's about dream time, it's about inner vision. So by this time, we will already um, be able to work with our inner guidance. We will be able to listen to our inner guidance, and that gives us space to manifest. So we will focus on manifesting and calling in our vision for the upcoming year. And we will be able to just jump into a different timeline. I truly believe that this work is being birthed right now because we are in a different age and there's no time for our fears. I think whoever is listening to this podcast, it's you are ready to step up. You are ready to shine your gifts, and it's time to really move out, away from fear and become comfortable with uncomfortable.
Mhm.
So this container serves this purpose. It is for future leaders or leaders of this time, and who will shine their gifts for many, many, many people. And their mission is to shed everything that do not serve their lives.
With the medicine wheel, can you tell us a little bit about how it relates to your ancestry?
Hmm. Thank you. That's a beautiful question. So, I in Hungary, shamans are called tátos. They are the medicine man or medicine women, and I am following my ancient traditions. So whenever I'm in Hungary, it's very important for me to connect to my roots.
Yes.
And the medicine wheel just touched my heart recently because I participated in a Hungarian Svetlosh ceremony, and we were working with these directions. And the qualities I mentioned are the qualities of the directions, and it's very important to honor them.
Yeah.
So I'm on a shamanic path. I work with different traditions, but my bright star is my own tradition, is the Hungarian shamanism, and and I when I participated in this ceremony, I was touched by the strength of the directions and the wisdom of my land. I was bowing to my own land. I was touching the land. I was kissing the land when I left the container of the sweat lodge. In the sweat lodge, we were turning according to the directions, and we were praying to the directions in every round. So we were there in the sweat lodge for four different rounds. We were there actually for 2.5 hours, and we couldn't come out of the sweat lodge. We let some air in, but we were bowing and praying to the directions according to these qualities. So this experience is very fresh in me. And I would like to bring in this medicine from my own land to anyone who joins this container. So thank you for asking. My own traditions are the most important for me. I'm always
Absolutely, especially
going
with
back.
your like concentration and ancestral work, and
Yes.
so like coming from traditions from where you have come from, and like that is powerful because it's like when we go to our sometimes it's like when we go to the root, that's kind of the way through, you know. I'm experiencing that with my own healing through connecting with my Ecuadorian roots.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I just really want to put that out there. It's like going to your own ancestry in this incarnation is very powerful. I want to get into our blood stains, our story.
Yes.
Um, yeah. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, okay, great. Great. So as you know, our blood stains are generally sometimes about the topic. So our blood stains are going to be about breath work today. I learned about breath work a little bit before I met Eleonora. Um, I just got sober and I was just still in this therapy journey trying to figure out how to one have fun and be sober, and but two also do daily things like that I need to do without feeling this just I mean, yeah, when you're newly sober, it's difficult to just imagine like not changing the state of your consciousness every day. And I practice yoga and I practice Reiki um on top of that, I was going to therapy and I was going to sobriety meetings and things like that. And then I came across some videos about holotropic breath work and Wim Hof, and I started doing that. And so just starting a little bit with just like some guided meditations, that really got me through difficult periods of my sobriety, because it was something I can access to just shift my mood and shift my thinking um, really easily and with my own breath. So I didn't feel like I was compromising my sobriety or compromising the progress I had done or or anything. And I like it would help me feel better at the times where I was like, well, there's no way out and I just have to feel there's no way out and I just have to feel discomfort right now, and
Mhm.
breathing through it, I would always find a shift. But those were only just little spurts of time because I was just figuring it out on my own. I was just like, oh, cool, there's this thing called breathwork. Let me, you know, I was only doing it for a few minutes at a time and stuff. Um, and then later on in I met Eleonora, a breathwork practitioner, and we were in Hawaii, and we were out on these beautiful cliffs, and there was like a fire and a full moon, and we were doing the 35-minute breath work, and it was so beautiful because I helped with Eleonora opening the directions and offering herbs to our ancestors, and um, just getting to be part of that experience was so like nice and nourishing. And it was an honor because it was also I was just like, oh, I get to also like help. This is great. Um, and it was just really powerful. So we're there on the cliffs. My eyes are closed, we're going through it, and um, Eleonora says to invite in my ancestors, and I knew my grandmothers. Um, they passed when I was early on, and so I didn't know them too well. I don't know too many of my ancestors, but um, there is a lot there, and I felt a presence when I was going through it, and it was soft presence, soft beings around me, and we were communicating on why I was here. And as we were communicating, I asked them why I'm here. And after I asked that, Eleonora says to me, not to me, just to the group. Eleanor's just talking to the group. And out of so it was kind of out of nowhere though. She just was like drumming, and then she just says, "Your birthright is to feel joy." And it was right after I asked that question, and I was like, what is this? What am I here for? Kind of thing. And so from that, I really took that on because I think I'm also um, taking on a lot of things in my lifetime with a parent who had an addiction, and other parents with unhealed trauma, and prior to that, um, other types of trauma, losses of land, previous to that, enslavement, previous to that, and so it just kind of came up that we can we can experience suffering, and then we can move through it and experience joy. And so I felt like my birthright was to be triumphant of that. Um, and so it was really cool. I opened my eyes, and y'all, like, I opened my eye. When you open your eyes after that, you're just like, whoa, whoa, a whole other world was happening. And like I opened my eyes and there's the full moon and the stars, and it was like the most gentlest light and the most loving feeling that didn't feel like it didn't feel like any drugs or any alcohol or any substance. It just felt like I was home, like I was a little baby that woke up from a nice nap, essentially. Like, and this was after the breath work stopped. During the breath work, yeah, there was a lot of physical sensations, lots of tingling in my body, lots of cramping, you know. So, and and dryness of mouth and things like that. But after that, yeah, it was just nice and a release, and it's not like it's not intoxicating, but you feel fully, you feel fully aware, fully in control, but you feel definitely a shift in your level of um your level of peace, your level of consciousness too. You do feel like extra happy. You do feel extra euphoric. You feel extra relaxed after doing that and after releasing and after like being finished with the breath, and you could just relax now. You know, it's if you think about like a runner's high,
Yes.
think about like a runner's high without having to run and like extra like a yeah, it's something akin to that, but it was very profound for me, and it's still very profound for me. Um, but I think like really like the breath is such a beautiful thing for me as somebody who, used to use like psychedelics and things to shift my consciousness, but then like always feel like I have to put something in me to
Mm,
to do the transformation, or like I have to take medication to
mm,
do something in me, I need to do this. I need to put something in me to fix it. But this is so different than that. It's much more empowering, especially for somebody with that experience of always had, putting stuff inside of me to try to fix it. Instead, it's just breathing. It's just me. It's all in here. um and so that's what I find most empowering about it, and that is um why I promote
mm.
this work. And yeah, that is my blood stain. Yeah, my journey with breath work.
Yay. Wow. This was so beautiful, and you just took me back to Hawaii, to the cliffs and to the full
Yeah.
moon. This was an absolutely amazing experience around the fire together with all the friends and many, many people, and under the full moon. And thank you for really sharing from your heart. This is probably the first time I really experienced someone sharing so deeply, and it really touches my heart because these experiences sometimes are difficult to describe. It's so deep, and every single time it's different. And as you mentioned, I think that is the key, that you experience this joy and this elevated feeling because your soul needs to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
and you are becoming your own healer.
Mm-hmm.
And that is extremely powerful. No one else, you don't have to go anywhere else. You just go within, you start breathing, and then magic happens.
Yeah.
So um, would you like to hear my experience?
Yes, what is your blood stain? What is your
Yes.
blood stain?
So my experience was at the cliffs as well, and after the breathwork ceremony, since I'm holding space sometimes to 15, 20 people, it takes a lot of energy. So for me, it's very important um, to take care of my soul. And I remember I asked you next day, I think, to go out to the cliffs, and I wanted to breathe as well. And I was guided to go to the same place, and this there were people around, and the sun already started going down, and there was another friend of ours with us, and he joined us as well. And I really wanted to breathe, but I didn't feel comfortable that people sometimes were passing by. It's such a deep journey, and since I'm committed to do this work, I can release, and I really wanted to feel safe. So you were really kind to agree that you were going to hold space for me and ground and just make sure that people are not disturbing the space. And the other friend was doing the same.
Mhm.
And it was just really powerful for my soul that I felt safe. So you are very gifted, both of you, because I really felt safe. I felt that I can go very deep. And I remember I was giving all in, I was breathing and releasing, and I was going through some pretty deep emotions. And and then all of a sudden it started raining.
Mhm.
There was no light. It was totally darkness, and then it started raining. And then I never tried breathing in the rain in Hawaii, in Pahoa, in a total darkness with two people around me. And I had such a big release. And also, when it started raining, water, the element of water is always about emotions.
Mhm.
So I felt that I was moving through the element of water, and there was, you know, like water around us, and it was just beautiful that the waves were just touching and coming up to the cliffs, and I felt that I'm moving through a lot of emotions. And it was just really beautiful for me that you both of you were so grounded, and you felt how to hold space without even knowing how to hold space. I mean, you knew that in your soul. You've been on this earth many lifetimes, and you are very wise and beautiful, amazing guide and leader. So you had some kind of, you started remembering, and I think that was amazing. And many times that experience come to me as well, that which is very special to my heart. I think it came through at that time as well, that I breathe a lot. So I started activating my voice, and I always had this fear of really like letting go and letting my voice out. My I think it comes from, again, my ancestors, that they were always silenced. And I recently I started like expressing light language, and then giving out interesting sounds and frequencies. And it happened then as well, and it was just so powerful that, you know, I felt safe to let go really to the highest level, and release whatever was coming through me, because I felt safe.
Yeah.
So I'm really honored that you were my guide on this journey, and the whole environment and nature, that's again was special, that I don't really have the um you know, I haven't had that experience to do breathwork in such beautiful nature, that we were in Hawaii, and there was the ocean, and then we were in nature, and it started raining, and it was just really magical. I've never breathed in, I've never done breathwork in rain. And it was was just a release. It was part of the release, and it just came together in a magical way. So I honor your guidance, and I honor you that you are such a beautiful friend, and you are embodied in your truth, and you are very connected and grounded. So thank you for that experience.
Thank you so much. Oh, that makes me feel so good, and it's an honor to be able to do and like see as well, like when someone's going through the experience. Because as a participant, I'm like mostly focused on what's going on here.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was definitely an honor and really cool to see um the two different sessions, one with the fire and the full moon and other people opening the directions and things, and then this other one where it was more intimate, just you, me, and another friend. The moon wasn't out and it was raining, and it was just a, like every time is different. You're gonna, not just in your environment, but like inner what happens internally too. I think that time, when I breathed, when we were taking turns, I released this belief that I don't belong,
Mm. Mm.
during that time. And I remember like crying because I was releasing that thought, because I really stand out, like, as this queer person with like interest in menstruation, and I want to live in the woods, and I want to make art, and I want to play music, and I I just I'm a different person, so it's easy to believe that I don't belong, but actually, like, I
Mm.
think uh through that session, just like, no, I belong. I think I'm just going to stand out.
And shine your light.
Yeah.
Never ever let your light being dimmed. It's
Yes.
very important. And
Yes.
I think breathwork teaches you that you just start shining your inner light brighter and brighter. And if somebody is bothered by that, then they can just move out of your way, because this is your light, and you are on this earth to shine your light as bright as you want, as bright as you can. That is your path. And I would like to add that you mentioned the joy, and I'm very happy that you mentioned that, because for me, you represent the hummingbird medicine, which
Oh.
is joy. Hummingbird is joy,
Oh,
and and it just really just sucks out the nectar from the flower, and really happy, and you are always hummingbird medicine to me, to me and my heart. And thank you for shining your light so bright, because you teach that to others, that it's
oh,
okay. It's okay to shine so bright and be the hummingbird, and really just lift others up through your light. And this podcast is this show is teaching us the
yeah.
same. So be proud of yourself, and I'm very proud
Thank
of you too.
you. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that's why I do it. It's like my container to just express my interests, and also let other people share their interest in their story. And, that's like the whole, yeah. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for saying that. That makes me feel uh confidence up to here, you know. Um, yeah. So I'm wondering, where can people, well, one, where can people sign up for your 4-week course? Two, where can people find you if they're listening after the deadline, for
Mhm.
that course? Where can people find you and connect with you?
Yes, so the name of the app is Soul Studio Breathwork dot passion.io. There's a dash between the words. If it's difficult to remember, we're gonna put the link. And also, if you check out my Instagram page, which is Soul Studio USA, it's linked there. And also this container, I'm gonna launch the my app with this workshop, but you can also sign up for a monthly breathwork plan as well. So this is gonna be an ongoing thing. We're gonna meet once a month for a breathwork, and then there's an integration. And you can check out all my offerings on my Instagram page, Soul Studio USA, on Instagram.
Yes, do so. Highly recommend. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the pod. This is gonna be an amazing, amazing
Yes.
episode. I'm so glad to do it. Sign up for the course. Yeah, just yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's all I got to say. Y'all know where you can find me. Um, Bloodstained. Uh, yeah. Okay. All right. I feel very
Yay.
good about that. All
Yes,
right,
thank you
everyone
so
have
much for giving me the space to connect, and it was absolutely my honor to be here and amazing. I haven't really participated in podcasts, maybe one, and I'm a newbie, but you are such a natural talent that it was really fun to be here. So thank you for the experience.
Of course, my pleasure. My pleasure. Love having all these amazing guests and my dear, dear friends. All right. And well, once I figure out where the recording part is, then I will say end of pod. One.
Let's have a giggle together.
Yes, a giggle. I don't even know what we'd be giggling about, but you know. Oh,
Just
wait.
giggle.
I
Yes.
know, I know. Before this whole recording, we're recording in my bedroom, and so we're trying to figure out like what's gonna be the best way to move this out of here. Y'all see my room where I live.
It's
Um,
beautiful.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Ugh, yeah, so good to giggle and yeah, smile with you. I hope y'all are smiling out there. All right.
Bye.